I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of kind of settling and kind of just leading a mediocre, meaningless life.
Feeling like a failure at as I get closer to the end of my life, feeling like I accomplished nothing of real importance.
Dying young, before I've truly had a chance to experience the career that's ahead of me. Um, Before I get a chance to marry and have kids. Um, Before I get a chance to see the next wave of technological advancements. Before I get to see, um, my friends do what they're passionate about. Um, yeah, dying young.
Settling in my life, maybe. Like not, you know, I would never want to settle, you know, for something or for someone or for, and I want to, that scares me, that, the idea that like I would do that. But I don't think that I would, but who knows what would happen later on in life. But I think it's important to kind of make sure that you are honest with yourself and your, in what you're feeling, and yeah, that, and that my illness will get worse. That's like the main fear that I have. And that it will never get better. And then who knows what will happen. So that scares me a lot. That's actually probably the main part. The settling part is just something that I always think about. Not always think about, but just think about in general. But the illness part is definitely like the main dragon in my life.
I think I'm most afraid of living my life by myself for the rest of my life. Oxymoron over there. But yeah, I think I want to find companionship. I do not want to, be 40, 50, 60, or 70 and not have a companion, not have a husband, not have kids. I think that's something I'm most afraid of, that the things that I want may not happen.
Loneliness. That's why I think I cling to people so much. I don't mean loneliness in a significant other type of way. Like, yeah, that'd be nice. Just loneliness in general. I don't want to be an old lady stuck in her house or stuck in a home with no friends, with no companionship. I mean, hell, I hate taking the train by myself. Think about living by yourself forever, not having friends. God, that's scary. People lose touch, People die. People move. I just hope I'll have someone, anyone, just be there for me till the end,
Probably failure. Yeah, I go to phenomenal lengths to avoid failing or disappointing people. Before I sort of joked that I wasn't very honest, and I am honest, but what I meant by that was that like I will tell elaborate white lies because I don't like to admit that I've failed in any way. So, oh boy, like while I was in college, I once wrote down all the different excuses that I gave to teachers while I was in school for things being late or for not being in class, and they range from like a relative died to my boyfriend's dog got run over, all this stuff. But anyway, like once I was late to class and we were meeting at an art gallery instead of the classroom, and because I knew I was going to be late, this is so illogical, but I pretended that I'd forgotten we were supposed to meet at the gallery, but it was pouring rain outside. And so as a result, it was like walking around on campus. Finally, I got to the gallery. The gallery was on campus, and I was soaking wet. And I'd done all of that just to avoid, like, just to pretend that I wasn't late. And here it made it 10 times worse. But if I think someone's mad at me or disappointed in me, I'll avoid them. So yeah, failure or disappointment is what I am most afraid of.
At this point, I'd say it's still that. I'm afraid of not fulfilling my potential, whether that means getting a meaningful startup off the ground or not. I think it's that, and having my parents and all that stuff be proud of me. Even though they're proud of me plenty now. Self-induced stress. I think, yeah, I'd say that's my biggest fear is, and that's why I wake up in the morning stressed out on like building a business. I just have too much stock placed in that. But I think I'm getting over it at the same time. I'd be happy to do something else or practice art or get a job at another startup or something. So, yeah, but that's been what I've been getting over the last couple years.
I'm the most afraid of being unhappy. I've been through very unhappy times in my life, and I don't ever want to be there again.
Being alone at the end of it all. That's the thing that I'm afraid of most. That like I'm gonna die and there's gonna be no one to remember me. I will only. Yeah, because once you're gone, it's like you only exist in people's memories of you, and I'm afraid that I'll have to face the end alone, and then there'll be no one to kind of, for my memory to live on through. So that's it.
Letting down the people that I love. When I was when I was with my first love, I was most afraid of doing things that weren't necessarily with the integrity of my character. And so that just permeated fear throughout my life, feeling like I was doing something that may not have been, that was just out of my character.
Myself. I self-sabotage, or no, maybe not myself. Fear itself, like it holds me back so much. And I want to experience everything, and it like locks me up and jams me up, and I hate it. And I'm scared of, I don't want to say being alone, because I mean, completely alone, sure. But unless suddenly become like a very horrible person, or everyone that I love and care for perishes, I don't think I'll be alone. And I feel very fortunate in that. So, yeah.
not the most cohesive answer.
I'm most afraid of losing another sibling. Especially at a young age. I know it has to happen, but I think more than that, I'm probably more scared that I'm going to die before them and that they have to go through it again.
I'm sure that I'm coming off obsessive about this. But the idea that I was like the only one from my town to like, or from my group to like go off and then do something else. And I like moved to New York and everyone's like, oh, Sam's doing great things. And I'm supposed to, there's like this like pressure. I'm supposed to have it all. That's a thing. And it's maybe I made it up, but the idea that I like wake up at 35 or 6 or 7 and it's still like maybe I have everything that like maybe I have a great job and I'm like respected by my peers and whatever, but like I'm still single or something. Like maybe I'm like not married and it's like this weird thing where everyone's like, oh, that's so weird that Sam, like we all thought that she would get married and like have the thing and do the whole great life, and I don't, and I just don't do it, and I don't have any of it. And the thing is, I think that I would probably still be happy, but I think that the idea of being seen as like somehow failing to live up to this like expectation, and like the judgment of other people about me like being alone, I think about it a lot.
I'm most afraid of not reaching my true potential. I'm terrified that every minute I'm not spending productively is a wasted minute. And that I can never find the balance of relaxing and enjoying my life versus driving myself to the edge in the sake of trying to actualize what I believe I could do. I think that's the biggest thing. I would just hate to look back on my life and say I could have done more. That's what terrifies me.
I think really what I'm most afraid of is like true loneliness. Clearly. You know, I'm cool, like hanging out with myself. It's fine. You know, I like me time. I like quiet time. But I always have friends. You know, there's always someone else. There's my family. There's my friends. There's coworkers who I adore, who are friends. You know, it's never like true loneliness. I think my biggest fear is to be lonely to an extent where I have no one else. You know, whether it's death, you know, it takes people from you at all at the same time, which would be uncanny, or, you know, if I totally go off the rails and like alienate everyone in my life. And like, again, I'm fortunate to have a lot of people in my life, so the chance of that happening is slim, and the things that I think would have to happen to make that a possibility are like, it's not gonna happen, right? But that is scary to me, and I really I really feel for people who are like truly that alone in this world. Yeah. Loneliness is scary.